Hey guys, what's up? My name's the Cool Mike, and from the title of this video, you guys already know that what I'm gonna be doing today. That I'll be doing a reaction, or I'll be doing a reaction on the Resident Evil 3 remake trailers, as well as the Resident Evil 3 remake screenshots that I have collected throughout the Capcom website. So, I already saw this, but I'm gonna be judging it, and we're gonna be taking a close look of I'm gonna be explaining in depth what the trailer contains and what are the possible scenarios that you guys, or that we, the Resident Evil 3 fans, are gonna be expecting when the game comes out. So without further ado, let's watch. So, Capcom PS4.
I've never seen anything like it. I haven't been able to sleep this weekend.
You gotta stay strong. Don't give in to fear out there, right?
How did this
All right,
happen?
calm down, buddy. Calm down.
Send reinforcements! No! Wait! Hurry up! Help me!
Going back in time. Okay. So I have a few questions about this this date. I'll be explaining very soon, but first we're gonna continue watching. There she is!
Jill! Over here!
What the hell? How could this many people be infected?
This city is completely cut off, isolated.
Don't look at me like that, alright? I'm not infected!
But right now it's got a hard-on for the only 2 stars left in town.
They don't need a bleeding heart like you getting in the way. Star's office has to be in this direction.
Gets worse every night.
They don't want the world to know what they've done.
Oh, my head.
What's wrong with Umbrella?
Get in!
I can't stop them all!
You gotta get out of there!
You guys are the ones who caused all of this!
No, wait!
Oh, come on.
We've gotta be dreaming.
There it goes. Alright. Resident Evil 3. But wait, there's more.
Commitment, honesty, integrity, these are the core values that create the foundation for Umbrella Corp.
Oh, there he is. Okay, so April 4, 2020. Alright, so we're gonna be talking about the we're gonna be talking in depth of what this trailer has installed for us. So what this trailer contains. So this is a flashback from Resident Evil 2. So yeah, Resident Evil 2. So the lab, and obviously Leon, RPD.
How? No!
Yep, RPD.
Hurry up!
Leon S. Kennedy. Okay, so that's a flashback from our Resident Evil 2 remake, which is really cool. I love Resident Evil 2. Now this is the questioning part. September 28, Raccoon City. We all know that it happened September 28, Raccoon City. But when you played the original game, it didn't happen on the night. It didn't happen on the night of September 28. It happened on the night of September 27. Because when you guys played the original game, Jill Valentine was already going inside the warehouse and was already chased outside of his outside of her burning apartment. And if you guys know, she said in the on the beginning of the game, after she left her burning apartment and she went to the warehouse, there's a cutscene of her saying September 28th, daylight. That means morning, day, daylight. The monsters have overtaken the city, but somehow I'm still alive, which means that happened the night of September 27. It did not happen on the night of September 28. So Capcom screwed the dates a bit. So we all know it's September 28, but the gameplay on the original game is the gameplay of the original game is on the day of September 28, which means she was already running away from her burning apartment on the night of September 27. And then she reached the warehouse on the day of September 28, which is daylight. So if you guys didn't know, here's the video of that.
September 28th, daylight. The monsters have overtaken the city. Somehow, I'm still alive.
So, just a little reminder, the date is a bit screwed up. If you're a hardcore fan, you know that the dates are a bit different. So that's another thing that I explored in the game. So another thing that a lot of people also wondering is who is the one chasing Jill. So from this footage, we heard him say, we heard the creature chasing Jill say stars. I'm not sure if you guys could hear it, but so it's subtle. You guys could barely hear that, but I'm guessing that could be Nemesis, but he has no flamethrower on his back when he was chasing Jill. So maybe he gets it after he encounters Jill for the first time, because the whole place is on fire, and that could only mean that Nemesis was doing this, or something happened that might have caused this. So another thing to look at is Jill's costume is different from the original game. As we all know, Jill is wearing the typical jacket on her waist type, and now she's wearing pants. She reminds me of Tomb Raider. A lot of people do. A lot of people do think that it looks like Tomb Raider because of the style, blue shirt, jeans or black pants rather. But yeah, that's that. So obviously someone called her. I'm pretty sure it's Brad Vickers, and it's not Carlos because the voice is not as deep as Carlos. So you can differentiate the voice. So I'm pretty sure it's Brad calling Jill. So this is Raccoon City. We get to explore more of Raccoon City, which is I'm very excited. Especially the alleyways, as well as some of the important parts of Raccoon City. Hopefully, such as the subway, the hospital, the city hall, RPD. I'm pretty sure we're gonna go back there hopefully, because what else? Yeah, and other things. Okay, so this is Mikhail, I'm guessing. So spoiler alert, do not watch this if you don't know yet. But if you're a hardcore Resident Evil fan, then we all know how this is gonna end up. He's gonna die by trying to commit suicide, trying to sacrifice himself against Nemesis with a grenade. And if you guys have watched the cutscene from the original game, this is how it ended up. So yeah, that's Mikhail.
This it.
So that's the subway station. New location in what's this? An alien. There's an alien poster. Where it out is. So this is the train. So the thing is, in the original game, it's not a subway train, but it's a cart, a go-kart. But here, it appears to be a subway train. Some people think that it looks like New York because of the style of the trains, but who cares? So here's another thing that people don't know. This guy. I've seen people react to Resident Evil 3 Remake, and the question that goes in their heads is, who the hell is this guy? If you don't know who that guy is, then you're not a true Resident Evil fan. Because we all know who that guy is. That guy is Murphy. He is a close friend of Carlos Oliveira, which is another character from the game. And he got bit during the game. And Carlos had no other choice, spoiler alert, Carlos had no other choice but to shoot him. Because Murphy was about to turn into a zombie. So if you guys didn't know, here's the cutscene of that.
No! Don't make me do this, Murphy. I don't want to shoot you. Kill me. I finished. Not human. Wait, we don't have to do this. Please hurry. Before I lose conscious. Before too late. Kill me! Yeah! Murphy. Why? No. No.
Carlos!
Alright, so yeah, that's Murphy. So yeah. And of course, Brad Vickers,
Alright, I'm not infected.
So Brad Vickers, and as you guys could see, the interesting part is they made sure that this is during the apocalypse because there are people, survivors running around.
But right now it's got a hard-on for the only 2 stars left in town.
So yeah.
They don't need a bleeding heart like you getting in.
So that's Nicolas. So spoiler alert, he's a villain. He's a supervisor to supervise or observe how the UBCS will do against the BOWs or the bioorganic weapon. That includes the hunters or the hunters as well as the zombies and the brain lickers. I forgot their name, but yeah.
The what?
Tyrell, I know him, and this is RPD. So that's there's this guy behind Carlos. So this is Carlos, and there's this guy, and his name is he's probably another UBCS soldier. So probably Murphy or Tyrell. So this is RPD. So in the original game, Jill goes to RPD. But the question is, will they copy the original game? Will we go back in RPD and see Marvin before he got bit and turned into a zombie? Will we see him or not? Or will we at least see Easter eggs of Resident Evil 2 happening in RPD? So that's gonna be interesting. Because from the original game, as you guys know, from the original game, Jill Valentine enters RPD. So yeah, Carlos Oliveira looks different. That's another thing that people first see, because he looks older, he looks more mature, and he looks more of a Chris Redfield look rather than the typical Carlos Oliveira young teenage I'm a brat look. So rather than him being looking like a teenage guy who likes to go on a dates with chicks, he looks more like a freaking a freaking badass, a mercenary, or what you call a hardcore expert, something like that.
Star's office has to be in this direction.
So the voice is so different. He sounds mature. So I'm guessing this is Jill's apartment.
It gets worse every night.
Okay, so I also forgot to mention.
How could this many people be infected?
So here we're seeing shoe prints. So there are people, possibly soldiers, could be UBCS behind the fence gate that separates the dead from the living. So that's an interesting one.
The world to know.
So this is a map, a bunch of details, and I'm guessing this is the poster that we're gonna be getting from the collector's edition, which I'll be having, and I'll be doing a review very soon by the time I get it.
Know what they've done.
Oh, my head.
What's wrong with Umbrella?
So this is the part where there's Jill gets to ride a helicopter. I think this is the part where I think Jill gets to hopefully thinks that she was gonna be rescued by the helicopter in the in the city hall or in the clock tower, only to be shot by Nemesis rocket launcher. So I think this is that scene. So if you don't know what that scene is, here it is.
You're saved. Down here! It's finally over. Huh? No!
Alright, so that's gameplay, I'm guessing.
Can't stop them all!
You gotta get out of here.
That's Brad.
You guys are the ones who caused all of
That's, I think that's when the helicopter got shot. Alright, so here's another thing. That footage. A lot of people couldn't... So, that thing is a hunter. That's the face of the hunter with an eye with a green eye. And I know it's the hunter because I could already tell by the claws and by the face. But what I also observed is this is in the Raccoon City Hospital. How could I tell? Well, if you guys look in the left side here, yeah, I think it's my left or right. But below me, if you guys look where the hunter is facing, there is a white coat. There is a white coat of a person. There's a person with a white coat. You can barely see the face. You can barely see the body. You don't see the face, but you see a part of his torso or a body, a white coat, which means this is probably a doctor. And we all know that in the original game, Carlos Oliveira gets to visit the Raccoon City Hospital. So if you guys don't know what that clip is, when he first, that's the clip where he first encounters a hunter for the very first time, if I'm not mistaken. So if you guys don't know what that clip is, here it is. Alright, so that's that. That's Mikhail. Oh no, that's Nikolai smiling. Sorry, I get confused with their names. Mikhail, Nikolai, they sound alike. That's Jill. And that looks like a car, not a helicopter, because that's a steering wheel. So from the second trailer, she was driving a car. So that looks like that.
We've got to be dreaming.
So this part is when she thinks she's infected, because there's a clip, a game, what you call a part of the original game where he got infected by Nemesis. So here's the clip.
Stars.
So basically, I'm guessing this is what she thinks is happening to her, because she's infected. She thinks that she's turning into a zombie. So this is the part where you play as Carlos Oliveira and find a cure for Jill, I'm pretty sure. So Resident Evil 3, and then obviously we get a glimpse of Nemesis. So
core values, the core value.
So that doesn't look like a hospital. That looks like, well, it looks like a hospital, but there's an umbrella logo.
Commitment, honest.
Yep. This is probably the time where Umbrella drops Nemesis in Raccoon City. So, yeah.
Integrity. These are the core values that create the foundation for Umbrella Corp.
Alright, so cartridge for by weapon, date, code name, Nemesis. Lot none. So that's the thing I want to know. There's this thing that says lot none. And
core values that create the foundation for Umbrella Corp.
So there, it says lot none. I have no idea what that means, but yeah. Nemesis. Okay, let's move on to the next trailer, which is the Nemesis trailer. Okay.
I got you.
Who are you? What are you doing?
Name's Carlos, and I'm saving you.
There he is.
I'm with the Umbrella Biohazard Countermeasure Service. UBCS for short.
This city is completely cut off, isolated. We need help. My men cannot do this alone.
The town's crawling with those freaks. No chance of fighting our way out of the city. Why is she here? She's unreliable.
It's me he's after. I'll buy you some time.
Hey, wait! Wait, Jill! What happened? Come in!
Okay. Alright, so let's start discussing what we saw from the second trailer. So this looks like it could be Nemesis or Mr. X, because he's wearing a coat. But he is also somehow wearing a mask. Oh my god, so they made it look like Jill was weak against Nemesis. So he's being tossed around because Jill is very badass when it comes to the original game. But here they made sure that he is weak against Nemesis, which means Nemesis is probably going to be more terrifying than Mr. X, considering Mr. X walks when he's chasing you. Nemesis runs when he's going after you, just like from the original game. Also that, yeah, that's Nemesis. The tentacles. This is one thing I hate about the game. No, this is one thing I hate about Nemesis, and what terrifies me is because he can reach you from afar. So even if you can shoot from a distance, once you get to a proper distance with you, he can literally grab you and throw you around with the tentacles. So this is another clip. This is another skill that Nemesis have, just like from the original game. And here is a sample clip of that. Okay, so yeah, so he could grab you and throw you around. So I think in the original game he could only damage you, but here he can grab you and throw you around like a freaking baseball.
Hey, easy lady, I got you.
Who are you? What are you doing?
Name's Carlos, and I'm saving you.
So there's also a clip of Nemesis burning, and this is the picture right now. So we always wonder, why is Nemesis on fire, or why is he on a fiery background? It turns out that explains why he's burning, because, or that explains why he's always surrounded in fire. It's because he has a freaking flamethrower. Simple as that. So that explains why he's always in a burning place. Because he always like burn things, which is quite interesting. Because a lot of people think he has a Gatling gun, but from the original game, he doesn't have a Gatling gun. He has a rocket launcher, and here's a clip of that. So he has a rocket launcher and not a Gatling gun. The Gatling gun he has was from the movie that people criticize and hate. So here's a sample here's a clip of that right now. So yeah. So another scene from RPD, Tyrell and Carlos.
I'm with the umbrella.
Yeah, that's Tyrell and Carlos.
Biohazard countermeasure service. UBCS for sure.
So Tyrell went to RPD door, but something tells me by the time he goes there, the door is locked. So there's a chance that we might not even enter RPD, but we get to explore the outsides of it. Because from the game, from the from the remake of the second one, the Resident Evil 2 remake of the second one, the door is already blocked, so there is no way for you to leave from the later part of the game. When you're playing Resident Evil 2 remake, the door is already locked, which means that you could no longer go outside. So I'm guessing this is the part where you can no longer go inside of RPD because it's blocked. So yeah. So this is the subway, I'm guessing.
This city is completely cut off.
Here's another interesting part. There are survivors. A lot. So UBCS, showed the survivors. Capcom showed the survivors that was being rescued by UBCS. Which when we play from the original game, we already saw that the survivors were dying when the UBCS or the Umbrella Countermeasure Service were escorting them to the city hall to be evacuated by helicopters. Alright, so there are survivors, which means we get to see what's gonna happen, and if they stick with the original game, this train is gonna go to hell, which means Nemesis is gonna appear and is gonna slaughter everyone on the train, because as we all know, the train blew up from the original game and crashed into the city hall. So most likely, if same thing happens here, then these people will all die. Who knows? Alright, so also a little thing is the one chasing him could be Nemesis or Mr. X. But if it's Nemesis, because Nemesis, as we all know, is known, if you guys are a hardcore fan, then you know that he has a code, he has another name called the Pursuer, because his job sent by Umbrella is to go after and kill all STARS members. And after Resident Evil 1, which is the mansion incident, there are only 4 remaining stars members that survived the mansion incident. There are two teams, the Alpha team and the Delta team. The I'm guessing, I'm not sure which is which, but I'm guessing the Delta team is the team of Rebecca Chambers and Kevin. I'm not sure if who is the leader. And of course there's the Alpha team. I could be mixing things up, I'm not sure. There's the Alpha team, which is which of course is led by Wesker, Albert Wesker, as well as Jill and Chris Redfield. Jill Valentine and Chris Redfield. So yeah. So there are only 4 remaining STARS members. There's Jill Valentine from Resident Evil 3, as you guys could see. There's Chris Redfield. Chris Redfield, during this time, is not in Raccoon City. And if you guys know, he's actually in Europe. Trying to investigate Umbrella in the parts of Europe, which led to Resident Evil Code Veronica. As you all know from Resident Evil 2 Remake, you get a letter from Chris in a locker inside RPD. So there are only 4 survivors. There's Jill, there's Chris, there's Rebecca Chamber, which is another survivor from the Delta team, but she's nowhere in the game. You don't see her from the original game. She survived the incident. She survived the mansion incident, but she was nowhere in Raccoon City, or she was nowhere near Raccoon City, or she wasn't in Raccoon City, or she survived probably, but she was not shown in the original as well as in these trailers. So we don't know what happened to Rebecca Chambers, but if you guys have watched the new animated Resident Evil movie, which is Resident Evil Vendetta, then she was there, and she met, I believe, Chris Redfield. So, and I guess she also met Leon S. Kennedy. So I recommend you guys watch that. It's amazing. So I prefer that compared to the original live action movies. So, and then there's Barry Burton, which is interesting because Barry Burton turns out to be in the original game. And if you guys didn't know, Barry Burton, there are 2 endings in Resident Evil 3 PS1 version. The first ending is when Carlos Oliveira was the one piloting the helicopter that makes you leave Raccoon City before it gets blown by a nuclear missile. But there's another ending where Barry Burton was the one driving it, because he was also in Raccoon City during the incident of the apocalypse. And here's the clip of that right now.
Thanks, you saved us.
I couldn't let you die.
Is it you?
Are you ready to finish this?
So that's, hopefully we get to see him. So there are only 2. There are actually, and also of course we forgot, I might mention, there's Chris, there's Jill, Barry, Rebecca. There are 5. I forgot. There are 5 STARS members. I'm forgetting one more important thing, and that's none other than of course he's not here. That's Brad Vickers. Yes, Brad Vickers. So he's the pilot of Alpha Team that rescued Jill, Barry, Rebecca, and Chris out of the mansion from Resident Evil 1. So there are 5 5 STARS members that survived the mansion incident. Chris is in Europe. She's not in Raccoon City. Rebecca is nowhere to be found. Brad and Jill is in Resident Evil 3 Remake, as we all know. And obviously Barry Burton was in the original that rescued you from the Raccoon City, because he was the one driving the helicopter and not Carlos. So hopefully we get to see him in this game. So yeah, so there are survivors.
So no.
So that's gameplay over there. That looks like that's operating. So that looks like the hospital. There's a zombie on the side.
The town's crawling.
That's Jill.
Those freaks.
That's the hunter, or I call them BOW, BOW, which stands for bioorganic weapon. Some people call them BOW or bioorganic weapon. Some people call them hunters, which is they're very commonly known for. Which they look, I'm not sure if they're lizards or giant frogs. I consider them giant frogs or reptiles. But yeah, I'm guessing this is the part where Carlos sees the hunter for the very first time in Raccoon City Hospital. So here's the clip of that again. Okay, so that's that.
No chance of fighting our way out of the city.
So that's the hunter. So that's gonna be replacing the leakers. That's Nicolas and Tyrell, I'm guessing.
What?
And this looks like the subway.
Why is she here? She's unreliable.
It's me he's after.
Oh, look, so there's something here. That's Nemesis. So if you guys can see, I'm not sure if you guys can see it. You see that? That has to be Nemesis, right? He's on their tail on this scene because as I said, he's there upstairs. Yep, there he is. Haha. I bet you some of you did not see that.
Hey, wait, Joe.
And of course, this is the part where he gets to show his flamethrower, which a lot of people think he has a Gatling gun. In the original game, he doesn't have a Gatling gun. He has a rocket launcher. So, yeah. So here's another interesting fact. If he has a flamethrower, that means the thing behind his back is a fuel tank. What happens if you shoot it? Does that becomes a weak point against Nemesis? When you shoot the gas tank from his back, he becomes flamey. It becomes a big target on his back. So what happens if you shoot the back? Are the developers gonna try to make sure that you cannot shoot the back, or the what you call the gas tank in his back is bulletproof or immune from gunshots, or that could be a weak point against Nemesis when he has a flamethrower, because that's a gas tank. That has to be a giant gas tank, a fuel tank. That's gameplay, I'm guessing. So I'm guessing this is the parts where you encounter your Nemesis. They're trying to put parts where you try to encounter Nemesis during the game. The tentacle parts are gonna be annoying for me because I hate when he can reach from afar. And another cutscene where I guess you get to encounter Nemesis. That's a gas tank. So yeah. Okay, what else? Okay, so last thing. So this one, are we gonna get to play this driving scene, or are we gonna be watching it because it's a cutscene? That looks like Mr. X or Nemesis, but he doesn't have a tank on his back. So that means he could be Mr. X. But he looks like he has a mask on his face. And he looks like he has a hat. And only Mr. X has a hat. Nemesis doesn't. He looks like he has a hat. I'm not sure. Yeah, he looks like he's wearing a freaking fedora. I could be wrong, but that has to be Mr. X. And if Mr. X appears in the game, what happens if both of them gets to chase you, gets to pursue you, gets to chase you or pursue you at the same time? That's gonna be terrifying. Mr. X and Nemesis trying to pursue you both at the same time. That's terrifying. I can deal with Mr. X. I cannot deal with Nemesis with a rocket launcher and a flamethrower. That's gonna be crappy for me and terrifying. So what happens if we get to deal both of them at the same time? That could be Nemesis, who knows? I'm not sure. He's wearing a mask. He looks like he's wearing a mask.
Jill, what happened? Come in.
That looks like a fedora or a mask. That could be Nemesis. He looks like he's wearing a mask or a fedora. I'm not sure because it's black. Oh no, it's Nemesis. Yeah, that has to be Nemesis because he has a freaking... That's a mask. That's a freaking mask. That's a gas mask. He has an exhaust pipe, an exhaust tube connecting to him on the back. Nemesis has I think has the same thing, like a tentacle connecting from his body, like a mutation. That could be Nemesis. I'm not sure. But he looks like he has a fedora hat from... But yeah, that's not a fedora hat, that's a mask. It looks like a fedora hat from afar, but that's a mask. That has to be a mask. That could be that could be Nemesis. So yeah. Of course, Resident Evil Resistance, which no one gives a damn because people prefer the Resident Evil 3. Which was very clever on Capcom's part because they showed the trailer in E3 of Resident Evil Resistance, or RE Project, which is Resident Evil Resistance, and then they were gonna show the trailer of Resident Evil Resistance, but they bait us, they trick us because in the end they showed the trailer for the Resident Evil 3 remake, and they listened to the fans to make one. So that's interesting. So this is like a Resident Evil Outbreak type of thing where you play online with multiple people, maximum of 6 or 4 I guess, and you get to help each other and to survive. And then there's this guy who's also a player trying to kill you. So this reminds me of Saw, pretty much. This reminds me of Saw. So yeah, I think yeah. And of course the pre-order, which includes the original costume. Alright, so now we get to look at some of the pictures from the original game. Alright, so here are some of the screenshots that I found. So here's one. This is Brad Vickers. And so that's a clip. So let's move on to the next one. That's Carlos Oliveira. And I'm guessing that's Tyrell at the back. And this looks like the stairway that leads underneath RPD, Raccoon City Police Department. The stairs that you get to explore once you're playing the second character, whether it's Chris, whether it's Leon or Claire. So for the next gameplay or next walkthrough, so that looks like RPD, the stairs. This is also the part where you're supposed to see the zombified version of Brad Vickers from the original game. But instead, obviously, here's the clip of that. But instead, they just decided to put a poster of Brad Vickers as the Easter egg. So rather than the zombie, which is quite disappointing, honestly. So yeah. Oh, here's a light up version of the Hunter, and oh my god, it looks terrifying, but very well detailed. So from the trailer, we could barely see it because it was too dark, but here they light things up. The developers decided to light up this screenshot to make sure you guys to witness and see what the hunter looks like up close. So yeah, so this is the part where obviously Carlos sees the hunter for the very first time at the Raccoon City hospital. Brad Vickers, that's Brad. We all know how he's gonna die from the original game.
Jill!
Brad!
We've gotta... Jill! Help!
No!
So Carlos Oliveira, he kind of looks like Japanese on this look. His eyes look like they're Asian or Japanese, but I mean, this is a Capcom is a Japanese company, so yeah. This guy, if you guys don't know who this guy is, then clearly you're not a Resident Evil 3 fan. This is Dario Rosso, a survivor that you get to see in the very beginning of the game of Resident Evil 3 in the PS1 version. A lot of people have studied this, a lot of people have did their research, and according to them, it was confirmed. This guy is none other than Dario Rosso. So yeah, he's Dario Rosso, and if you guys don't know who Dario Rosso is, if you played the original game, he's a survivor that Jill meets in the warehouse. Here's a clip of that.
Okay, we've got to get out of here.
What? What do you think you're talking about? I just lost my daughter out there! How dare you tell me to go back outside?
I'm sorry about your daughter, but there isn't gonna be any rescue. We have to get out of here!
No! I'm not going anywhere! I'd rather starve to death in here than be eaten by one of those undead monsters! Now leave me alone!
Okay. That's Mikhail? Yeah, that has to be Mikhail, right? That has to be Mikhail. That's Murphy, as we all know. One of Carlos Oliveira's friend, and he looks infected. That's oh yes, that is Nemesis. So the one that wasn't Mr. X. That's Nemesis. There is a pipe behind his back. He is wearing a gas mask. That thing is a freaking gas mask. He's Nemesis because he was falling from a high altitude because he was being dropped by a helicopter. The one he hit on the car wasn't Mr. X. It's Nemesis. It has to be. And the interesting part about this footage is he is not holding a flamethrower. He is holding his original weapon, which is a freaking rocket launcher. So what happens if he has two weapons, a flamethrower and a rocket launcher? That's terrifying. He has tentacles, and he has two powerful, obscenely insane weapons. A rocket launcher that could fire from a distance, and a flamethrower that could literally kill you if you get too close. He's terrifying now. Hopefully they don't do too much because that's gonna be overkill on my part. People are gonna rage quit if they find out he has two weapons. But in the trailer he has a flamethrower, and now in this picture he has a freaking rocket launcher. But who knows? That's Tyrell, obviously. As we all know, Tyrell, spoiler alert, was killed by the supervisor, which is the main villain of Resident Evil 3. One of the villains is Nicolas. So here's a clip of that right now.
Don't shoot! No! Nikolai? You're still alive?
You saw what happened?
What's going on?
I'm one of the supervisors. That's all you need to know.
Wait!
So yeah. That's Dario. That looks like the warehouse. This is the part where he says, I just saw my wife and daughter died out there and you want me to go back? I'm not coming out. He's the one who hid in the freaking giant container. So yeah, I guess there's an Easter egg of him. If you go back in the warehouse, there's an Easter egg of him finding his body, and that he has been eaten by zombies, and that you get to see a letter from a note from his corpse that he wants to be a writer for some reason. Alright, so this is the subway. I could already tell that this is the subway because this is the train. There's the posters in the train, those are seats. That's Jill and Mikhail. Right, Mikhail. And they're looking at something, and they're both horrified from the looks of their faces. And the thing that they're looking appears to be glowing orange, which means one thing: fire. And who is a flamethrower? It's Nemesis. This is the scene, most likely the scene where Nemesis appears in the appears in the train and then kills Mikhail, or Mikhail kills himself by trying to kill Nemesis with a grenade, as we all know. Here's the clip of that. Okay, so that's probably a cutscene of them looking at Nemesis or the train on fire. So yeah. So here's another cutscene of Raccoon City, Moon's Donuts. So we get to explore more of Raccoon City, which I love. Another scene or a screenshot from Raccoon City. The restaurant. This looks like the sewers. If I'm not mistaken, there's a part of the game where you go underneath the sewers. You go underneath some sort of tunnel, and there's a restaurant there, and that's the time where you're about to see the Nemesis, and you're collecting a jewel for the city hall from the original game. So I'm not gonna leave a cutscene. I'm not gonna leave cutscene of that. But if you guys have played the original game, this looks like the tunnel where you get to find one of the crystals, one of the jewels that you need to open the door or the gates to the city hall. You know what? Here's the clip of that right now. Take a look. Alright, moving on. That's Jill in the subway. He looks like she's looking at the subway, which means this is the part where they already successfully operated the train, and the train is now moving to City Hall, which is, you know, evacuating the people of the survivors. This is the subway station, I'm guessing. Definitely the subway station. That's Jill. This is Nemesis killing the living crap out of Jill. So I'm guessing this is one of the death scenes. This is the part where it's game over. And I also noticed he's holding a freaking rocket launcher. So that's overkill. So I'm guessing in the first parts he has a rocket launcher, and in the subway part he has a flamethrower. That's overkill. That's literally overkill. I won't be surprised if Capcom decides to give him a Gatling gun as well, because that's too much. But still overkill. He has two weapons. So I'm guessing this is the part where this is a game over, where he carries you with a freaking rocket launcher and then probably shoots it, and then your body goes to bits and pieces. So yeah, that's Tyrell. No, that's Nicolas. No, Mikhail. Sorry, that's Mikhail, and he's infected now. So yep, that's the part where he's talking to Jill. That's Murphy, and from the cutscene from the first trailer, Jill sees Murphy, and it wasn't Carlos who sees Murphy, it was Jill. So that's new, because from the original game it was Carlos who gets to see his friend and gets to shoot him because he was infected. And of course, Nemesis. Oh my god, that's a rocket launcher. So, and it has a freaking homing missile. So there's a laser sight from that rocket launcher, which means that's probably the scene where he gets to shoot the helicopter that was supposed to rescue Jill and Carlos in the city hall. So I'm guessing this picture is the what caused the helicopter to crash. So yeah, of course, yeah, that's a rocket launcher. Oh my god, why? That's scary. And of course, Nemesis with the tentacles. I'm gonna hate this skill of his. He has too many weapons. This is too much. So here's the thing I was talking about. Cartridge for bioweapon, blah blah blah, codename Nemesis, lot none. What does the lot mean? I have no idea. Let me guys know in the comments what it means. That's Nikolai, probably looking at the monitoring the BOWs, the hunters, Nemesis, killing Umbrella's countermeasure service, and trying to observe the bioweapons doing their part. That's the subway, Redstone Street, downtown subway, Jill and Carlos. And that's Tyrell, as a lot of people seem to say. Tyrell is the hacker of the team, so he's a computer expert, probably studying what you call how to operate the train. I don't know, blah blah blah. Hacker. So Jill, Carlos, Mikhail, and Tyrell. Subway, I'm guessing. So this is from the one of the early screenshots. Raccoon City. Another part of Raccoon City. So here's the thing. There's this. You see that? I'm not sure if you guys could see it. Just on top of the next to the cinema sign, there's this giant container that looks like it came. It looks like it came from the sky and crashed, and something came out of it. Something opened. This area looks clear. There's except for the zombies on the far back. But this area looks clear. Looks like there's gonna be something chasing you from this part of the map. Nemesis? Who knows? Is this the container where Nemesis drops? Because we all saw that he was being carried by a giant container. And this looks like, next to the outpost, next to the cinema sign, a giant container that dropped from the sky and something broke out of it. Nemesis? Who knows? We don't know. Possible. This is my favorite screenshot of all the games. Jill looking at zombies. I'm guessing the building that he is looking right now with all the zombies is the city hall. I'm pretty sure that's the city hall. So here's another thing that you guys, if you guys didn't know, there are a bunch of cool pictures in this game. So this is the map of Raccoon. This is the map of Raccoon City. I'm guessing this is the poster. The map is the poster that we're gonna be getting in the collector's edition. If you guys got that, and if you guys see just above the what you call Raccoon City, Raccoon City map, just in the middle, upper right. I'm not sure. There's a number 5. And a picture of that is Annette Birkin, a scientist of Umbrella. That has to be Annette Birkin. Annette Birkin is the wife of William Birkin, the creator of the G virus, which what you call caused the T virus incident that spread the virus in the sewers that caused the Raccoon City zombification. Another poster, another picture that you guys see is another Easter egg. And as you all know, that is the stars, Alpha Team and Delta Team, or Alpha Team picture in the upper, in the upper right, in the right, next to the light switch, I'm guessing. So that's the stars picture. If you guys don't know, I'm gonna be showing the picture of stars right here, right now. That's the picture. So yeah. Here's another picture. Survivors. Lots of them. Running from zombies. That's cool. Here's another picture of zombies. They look like some of them are looking at the camera. So there's this guy looking at the camera, and there's this guy looking at the camera. That's creepy. But yeah, okay. So I think that's that. I have nothing else. Alright, so yeah, hope you guys enjoy me reacting to Resident Evil 3 trailers, as well as the Resident Evil 3 remake screenshots. If you guys enjoy it, be sure to leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe now if you haven't. If you guys want to see us react want to see me react to more Resident Evil with a special guest, with another Resident Evil fan, I'll be leaving the link of that description. I'll be leaving the link of that video in the description down below, as well as other things like zombie gameplays. If you guys want to watch me play the Resident Evil 2 remake, it's right there, as well as the demo and the collector edition unboxing, as well as the Resident Evil book archives book archives or Resident Evil archives book review. It's right there. Go check it out. Yeah, and pretty much, yeah, as always, I'll see you guys. Hope you guys enjoy, and as always, I'll see you guys next time with another brand new video. This is the Cool Mike, signing off. Goodbye.